Hi friends, welcome back. In the last video, we spoke about anxiety, what really anxiety is, and how do we feel, how does anxiety really stem, and how do we feel it in our body, and what are the kind of responses to anxiety that we generally display in life. Also, what situations can make us anxious, and the difference between real danger or real fear versus anxiety. So in this video, I'm gonna give you a few tips that have really helped me personally and a lot of the other people that I know, clients that I worked with anxiety, that it has helped them. So this is one of the methods that I have used that has really helped me when I have felt anxious, when I've been in an anxiety provoking situation. And so here's what I do when I feel really anxious and when I feel like my heart has started to beat really quickly. So the first thing I do is I just take a very deep breath from the nose and exhale from the mouth very slowly. So here's how I do it. And then you repeat that a couple of times till you feel your heartbeat is settling down. And once you start doing this, you will feel that the anxiety is kind of calming you down, it's settling down. You can actually you hear and see a shift in even my tone with just these 3 breaths. I was going really quick, and after breathing deeply, I have kind of calmed down and my voice has settled. So this can really help. You can do it for 2 minutes to 5 minutes, especially in an anxiety provoking situation where you feel extremely anxious and your heartbeat starts to beat really quickly. So this is one way of dealing with anxiety. So once you have brought your heartbeat down, what is the next step? So the next step is really understanding what is causing anxiety, right? So how do we know what's causing anxiety? So first you need to be aware of the triggers that cause anxiety to you. So for example, what generally causes me anxiety is facing somebody who talks really loudly, or being in a company of somebody who really is very direct and very brutal in their way of talking. And that causes anxiety to me because I feel like that person is threatening me. So I'm aware that in such a situation, if I'm going to go and meet this person, I'm aware that I am going to be in a little state of anxiety, right? The anxiousness is going to come into me. And so I need to be prepared beforehand so that I know that even if I do feel anxiety, it does not go out of hand and I don't feel like I'm absolutely out of control and I don't know what to do anymore. Like I said, when I used to feel so frozen in the fear that I didn't understand how to respond or react. So that has reduced a lot for me because now I have been using these steps to prepare myself beforehand when I know I'm going to get into an anxiety provoking situation. So the next step is that I need to understand my triggers. So what are my triggers? So for a lot of people, it could be different aspects of your life. So for example, if a certain relationship in your life is a trigger that causes anxiety to you, you could probably just be aware of that. The best way of being aware of that is to really notice what's happening to you in the presence of that person, or when you are in that situation. How does your body react? Do you start sweating? Do you get really nervous? Does your heart start beating really quickly? If that starts happening, then that's pretty much clear that this person makes you feel anxious or nervous, or this particular situation, whatever it may be, makes you feel anxious and nervous. So that's one way of finding a trigger, right? There could be one person, specific person, or more than one people in your life that cause anxiety. There could be specific situations in your life that cause anxiety. Like, for example, for a lot of people, it is very common to feel anxiety when they're going to give presentations in front of a group of people, or when they're going for public speaking, or when they have to go talk to a senior, like an authority figure. It makes them feel very anxious. So that kind of is your trigger. So you know that is your trigger. Once you have identified these triggers in your life, what is the next step? The next step is to really now understand what about this situation or this person causes this fear or anxiety in me. This threatening situation. What is all the threat about? Right? That's what we need to understand now. Once you've identified the trigger, now the next step is to understand how it's causing you to feel threatened. So let's say for example, I go to my boss and I'm really nervous about my boss because authority figure, and I get really nervous when I have to face an authority figure, because it reminds me of the time when I was in school and the teachers used to, want to always discipline me. So I get really nervous around people who hold an authority figure. So now what? So what do I do when I'm in such a situation? First, I will identify the situation. I will also do the deep breathing that I just shared with you some time back. And then once I'm calmed down, I will think about how this person or the situation is triggering the anxiety in me. So I will really think about, okay, what is this person going to say that will cause me to feel anxious? Or what is about this person that will cause me to feel anxious? So it could be the way they dress or the way they carry themselves, their whole persona. Like for me, an authoritative figure means that their whole persona is very scary to me, because it kind of resonates with me as a very strict person, like a school principal or something like that. And in school, I used to be really scared of my teachers. So that is what I generally associate with anybody having an authoritative figure. So I need to understand that. And then I need to really question that, is this anxiety really required? How is this person threatening me or my self-esteem? What is he or she saying that is making me feel threatened about my self-esteem? Is he going to evaluate my work? If yes, then how is the evaluation going to define me? Because self-esteem is about how I feel about myself. And generally, anybody who is going through anxiety will generally have an issue with feeling that their self-esteem is coming down every time they are triggered with anxiety, So, how is my self-esteem coming down? If she's evaluating my work, does that mean that I'm not good enough completely? Or does that mean that she's talking about only this one project that I have not done really well in, So we need to separate these aspects, of the whole versus just a part of it. And we need to really understand how we are probably in our minds making something that is not very big, really big, and making us feel so scared, because we are questioning our entire self-esteem and self-worth by just that one aspect of our life, which generally happens. If you are somebody who's going through anxiety, you would probably understand that when we are faced with a situation, it's just the situation that is making us feel anxious. It's not our entire self-worth or self-esteem that is in question. But that's what we do to ourselves, because we start analyzing or we start judging our entire self-esteem and self-worth based on that one situation or that one interaction with that one person. which actually makes us feel so anxious because our entire self-worth is at question, right? So this is how you are going to ask yourself whether it's really about my entire self-esteem and self-worth, my whole competence, or is it only about this one small aspect of a project that that person is telling me about, or something that the person is pointing towards. You know, if it's just that much and I am putting the entire self-worth and self-esteem in question, does that even make sense, right? And we do all of this very, very subtly, so we don't realize we're doing it. But this is exactly what's happening in our head when we are going through anxiety. So once we become aware that this is what's happening, it is easier for us to manage the anxiety, because then we are at a situation where we can take our power back from the situation, and we can tell ourselves that, look, this is not how it seems, and that I have the power here to respond the way I want to, you know. And that really helps in managing anxiety. So I hope that this has helped you. This has this will at least if you start with following this, it will probably help you to reduce the amount of anxiety that you feel. Of course, anxiety is a very chronic issue for a lot of us, and that we need a lot of more understanding about it. We need a lot of more tools and resources to learn how to manage it, and I'm going to be sharing more tools and resources in upcoming videos. But to start with about anxiety, this is what I wanted to share, because it's something that I have also faced for a lot of years, and now that I know how to manage it, I am very, very willing to share it with the rest of you, so that even you can learn how to manage it. So if you've liked this video, if you've learned anything about anxiety, or if you've tried any of these, and if something has worked for you and you would like to share that, please go ahead and put a comment on the video on the YouTube link. And also please share it with people who you think will benefit out of this. Thank you so much.